So when you sort of turn the machine on for the very first time, you probably got a screen that looks a little bit like this. Then the next screen you'll probably see be a similar sort of screen like this. Basically, you can get in this screen because there's no sort of operating system installed yet on your machine, so the machine can't sort of boot any further. So what you need to do, you just need to sort of just restart the machine again, and then when this first screen pops up again, it should say there, press a certain key to get into the BIOS of your machine. On this picture here, it says the delete key. So if you just sort of turn the machine on, if you just sort of keep tapping the delete key, you should get a screen that looks sort of similar to this. So the next step is just to sort of find sort of the boot section. And there's a section there where you can sort of select the boot order. So on the screen we just need to now sort of change the boot order. So we're going to make sure it's sort of got a boot from the CD first, so we can sort of install the operating system onto the hard drive. So you're probably going to screen something similar to this. So in this case we've got the CD-ROM first, and we've got perhaps the sort of hard drives afterwards. So just sort of just change the order into the correct order. So you can sort of move those around. Just need to make sure you've got the CD or DVD sort of first. Then we just need to go over to the exit and then save changes and restart the machine. Then the machine will boot, and then hopefully now it should boot off the CD. I've got a screen that perhaps sort of says, press any key to enter. So you just sort of press a key on the keyboard. They'll sort of initiate the CD-ROM to boot. And then from here you just need to sort of install Windows. Okay, so once you've been able to sort of successfully boot just off the CD, should get something like a similar sort of screen to this. Just need to sort of click next. And then click on to install now. Click on the I agree to the license. Okay, and in this case, because we're just installing a brand new machine, not doing an upgrade, but in this case we're going to be installing a brand new machine. So okay, so you should get to a screen like this, basically an unformatted drive. So next step will be to sort of format the drive into a usable state, so we can sort of use the drive. So we just sort of click on to new, and then click apply. That should create a full drive there for us. Minus is also perhaps another sort of drive there as well with 100 megabytes on it. That's just for to sort of help install Windows on. So you don't really need to worry about that, but this here will be our main drive. Once you've done that, you just need to click on to next, and then it'll start to install Windows. Okay, so once you've installed Windows for the very first time, the next step now will be to install the chipset drivers that sort of come with the motherboard. There's a CD there which you can use, but they're actually perhaps a little bit out of date, those drivers. The best option, if you have perhaps an access to another computer, is to just sort of go online and go to the motherboard's website, in my case the Gigabyte website. Just sort of put in your model number for your motherboard and then download the drivers just onto perhaps a USB stick or something, and transfer it onto your new computer and run that. You probably need to do that because you need to, otherwise there'd be no sort of LAN driver, no sort of network card driver to sort of access the internet. If you don't have perhaps access to the internet, you can perhaps just sort of run the CD, at least just run the CD just to get the LAN driver, just so you can sort of get access to the internet. Then you should just be able to go online and download the drivers. If you don't have access to the website, if you just sort of put the CD in and just go and run the CD, you probably get a screen something like this, and it should just have a list there of the drivers which you can install. Okay, so what I've done, I've actually just downloaded all the drivers just onto a folder, just on my other computer, and just put that folder just onto a USB stick and put it across, plugged it into a new machine, and I've just created a few different folders there, one for audio chipsets, the LAN driver, RAID, USB 3, and the onboard video drivers. So that's just a matter of sort of opening up each of the files, double clicking on the file and just installing each one. Perhaps install one or two at a time and then just do a restart. and just sort of keep doing that until you've sort of installed everything. Once you've done that, probably the next step will be perhaps to install your antivirus, which is probably very important. And once you've done that, and then go and install Windows updates. Just sort of keep installing them. So you just sort of do a search for updates. You'll probably download a couple. Then you just perhaps restart the computer and then just go back in and try searching again. And just sort of keep doing that until you're sort of up to date. And then you're pretty much right to go. You can sort of start, installing whatever programs you want to, and yeah, your computer's pretty much all set. Okay, so that's sort of the end of my sort of three-part sort of series on sort of how to put a computer together. I hope you sort of enjoy watching. Have any questions? Certainly leave some below for me. I'll be certainly happy to answer them. Perhaps just a bit of a conclusion, I guess. I think I sort of found it was reasonably easy to sort of put the computer together. I think it's a lot more easier these days than it used to be. Things are a lot more streamlined, and especially the motherboards. It's got inbuilt sound and inbuilt video, and lots of a lot more USB ports. All different things on there. So there's a lot more easier than it sort of used to be. Only sort of major problem I had, perhaps, as I sort of said before, when installing the motherboard, just had a bit of issues just trying to get it to sort of align in the case. I could sort of screw the screws in. I just had to sort of hold it a bit harder against the back of the case, and so that was a bit of an issue. But I sort of it didn't take too long to sort of get around that. Apart from that, it's reasonably sort of simple. A few things I might have perhaps sort of skimmed over. Perhaps just in terms of Windows updates. I think I did sort of mention it, but if you sort of when you install a brand new machine, you've got obviously got to search for Windows updates and install them. That does take a few times to sort of do that. So if you sort of search for updates, install those updates, do a restart of the machine, and then immediately once the machine's booted up, then just go back and search for some more updates, and then install those, do a restart, and then search again. You might need to just do that 3 or 4 times, because you sort of find that some updates need to sort of be installed first before they can install the next lot of updates. So just that might take a few times just to sort of do that. Obviously, perhaps use some sort of backing up software, so you can install everything, get the Windows updates all done, and basic sort of programs. And then just I think some inbuilt software actually in Windows which you can use in Windows 7. Just like a backup, and does like an image of the state of your hard drive as it is sort of now, and then say 6 months or 2 months time, you can, if the computer something happens to the computer, you can just sort of go back and restore from that image, and you've basically got a brand new machine, sort of all up and running basically. Of course, install some antivirus software. That's sort of very important. I did do a bit of a guide on that a few weeks ago. I might leave a link just down below for that. If you have any sort of questions, you can always check your manual. There's always information in there. Do a search on YouTube or do a few Google searches. There's plenty of information out there which you can use. In terms of perhaps the future for my machine, I did end up sort of installing RAID, as I sort of mentioned before. Installed the RAID 5, which essentially means because I've got 3 terabyte hard drives, and I'm sort of using one of those drives as just like a backup drive. So that means if one of the hard drives fails, I can just sort of take out that old drive and just stick in a brand new drive and just do a rebuild of that, and that should bring all my data back. Only problem with that is that you are sort of losing a hard drive when you're doing that. So I've got 3 terabyte drives, but I can only sort of use 6 terabytes of that, because the third drive is actually just being used for backup, and that's all sort of being used for. I was thinking perhaps installing water cooling, sort of just a normal sort of heatsink and fan. Water cooling does sort of cool your machine down a little bit more. Sort of aim more people that sort of do overclocking their machines, or sort of warmer type environments, I guess. So I probably don't necessarily need to do that, but I thought it might be a bit of a project, and sort of need to sort of buy the water block and the pump and the reservoir and all the cable, all the tubes and stuff. So that might be a bit of a project for me. You can sort of recently, I think in the last year or two, they have released sort of self-contained units, which essentially use water cooling, but it's all in sort of one sort of pack basically, one sort of unit, and you just sort of install it just like a normal sort of heatsink, just like a normal sort of heatsink and fan. You don't need to sort of change the water or anything like that. But apart from that, I think that's pretty much all I have to sort of say. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Any comments, leave that below. And yeah, and happy computing.